Glad to have you back. If you are just joining us, this is Firecrackers. Now to the topic we have at hand. Protests have been taking Nigeria by storm. It is obvious that Nigerians are unhappy about the situation of the economy, the standard of living and all that. But the response that people are taking to is protest. But it makes one wonder, is protest truly the right way to go about making the government know about the hardship people are going through? Is that the best way to communicate and make sure that, well, something is done?
If you are hungry and you don't tell anybody you are dying of hunger, you have yourself to blame. If you are badly paid and you are not protesting and asking for increment in payments in your salary, it's your fault. Nobody will know. No matter how hungry or poor you are, if you don't let people know. So I think it has gone to a point where people are so fed up and they are now expressing their frustration by coming out and saying, we are hungry, we are angry, we are desperate, we need things to improve. Therefore, it is a legitimate way to communicate to government. It's the most effective way even to communicate to government. Don't forget that normally it will be civil society, labor union and all this organizing these protests. This has gone beyond that. The people themselves all over the country, even in Delta where they tried to stop the protest, it's obvious there was a protest. All the government can do, government agencies can do, is to say, this protest should not be violent. So violent protest is not the answer. But peaceful protest, legitimate protest, is very valid, and it is the way to go about it.
Okay, all right. I feel the reason a lot of people are adverse to protest was because everyone still has, well, most people still have this PTSD, the post-traumatic stress disorder from the last protest that took place. That is the NSAS protest. And up to now, there's still conflicting reports of what actually happened during that time, because lots of lives were lost, but the white reports that was read out showed that it was different things. We still have up to now people missing, and it was tracked back to the NSAS protest. Even just this morning, Lagos State Police is saying that they are going to clamp down on protest to make sure that it doesn't get hijacked. Because the thing with protest is, even when people of sane minds are gathered, there is no guarantee that it could not be hijacked. And then if it gets hijacked, innocent people are going to suffer. And if we go back to how this has been, a lot of Nigerians have been expecting hardship since almost everyone agreed that fuel subsidy had to go. And all this problem are attending to issue with subsidy removal. So would you say that perhaps Nigerians need to exercise more patience rather than going to the streets to protest? Because even government officials are advising us to be patient.
This is not the first time that Nigerians are going through hardship. This is not the first time that there's poverty and hunger in the land. Buhari's regime was terrible. Cost of living was as high, but was very high. Insecurity was very high. We had all sorts of problems during that period. So therefore, governments must ask itself, how come in this administration things have become so volatile that not only civil society and leaders of thought are complaining, that the people are protesting like never before? For Nigerians to come out, you know, Nigerians are not known for coming out to protest. For Nigerians to come out en masse as they have, in the north, in the middle belt, in the south, everywhere, it tells you something seriously has happened. Now, NSAS, what happened in NSAS that you mentioned, was a deterrent. Most people were afraid. But for them to come out like this, in spite of that, it tells you that there is really fire on the mountain. And let me tell you what happened. It started from the first day Bola Ahmed Tinubu became president. I said it on this particular platform, that removing fuel subsidy the way he did it, by fiat, with arrogance, began the downward slope of the economy, by which companies started experiencing serious economic problems. It is oil that fuels the economy. It is the one thing that every 200 million Nigerians need to survive. You have to cook your food, you have to transport, you have to have fun in your house, you have to have light. In a country where the NEPA, the electricity supply, is so predictably unreliable, everybody who can afford it is using generator. What fuels the generator? Petrol. Now, all of a sudden, the day the man announced the removal of subsidy, the price of petrol jumped from 185 per litre to 500 per litre. I was in Ibadan. On my way to Lagos, I heard his speech in Ibadan. Before I got to Lagos, the price had gone to over 500 naira per litre. That is astronomical. From then on, things became unbearable for Nigerians. You understand me? Don't forget, minimum wage is still 30,000. In the meantime, the price of food has gone up like 300-400 times. Transportation is gone up. Every aspect of life has been impacted negatively. That began to destroy the economy. Forget about policy. When you make a policy, the value of your policy depends on its impact on the society. Okay. So whatever argument people have in favor of removing subsidy, we can discuss that at another time, but the impact is what we have seen now. So people have become desperate because their earning power, it's not that food is not in the market. I mean, this administration doesn't know what it's doing. You set up a committee and you spend 500 million to constitute a committee to look into food shortage. Nobody said there's no food. If you go to Oyinbo market, you find gari there, you find rice, but can you afford it? The problem is there's no money. The economy is in shambles. That is the problem.
Okay, all right, but if we look at it this way, we could also see, in fact, the Poultry Association of Nigeria, when they were interviewed and asked that what is causing the astronomical increase in prices of crates of egg, they mentioned that one of the first in the mission was greed. It is not necessarily something that, of course, the economy has its effects too, but they said that one of the major causes is greed. These two could be traced to many other factors in the society. So could we not say that the reason we are experiencing this much hardship is because people are trying to take advantage of the situation, but not necessarily because things are that bad?
Well, greed by who?
By the people operating these firms.
Okay. You know, whenever you have a crisis, some people take advantage of it. That's why you must make sure you don't have the crisis. You understand me? So it is true. But let me tell you something about eggs. You see, what is happening in Nigeria is not just a shortage of money. The purchasing power has dwindled so much. Your salary cannot buy you 40% of what it could buy before this administration got into office. That's the problem. But the quality is also gone. Now you have to be careful what you do, what you buy. Do you know why the price of eggs and the quality of eggs have gone down? Why the price has gone up? The feed that the chickens that will lay the eggs are imported. Most of it, the price has gone up. The price of the feed is gone up. So now the quality of eggs, if you want to sell eggs at a reasonable price, you must reduce the quality of the feed. If you reduce the quality, do you know now, do you buy eggs? Do you use eggs? It's so watery now, is it not? Eggs watery. In fact, you have to be careful what you eat. Lafu now, I cannot buy Lafu now because every time I buy Lafu, I see that this is more powder than, I don't know what they put in it. Everything is adulterated. It is frustration. Don't blame the people for the hardship that you have created. And let me tell you something else that is creating the hardship. Insecurity. If you have a situation in the Middle Belt, in the North, in the farms, all over this country, even in the Southeast, where farmers are afraid to go to the farm, we have reduced the opportunity to produce. You understand me? Therefore, price of food must go up. And at the same time, simultaneously, there is no income. You understand me? Nobody is making more money now. I tell people that when you go to the market and you are paying double for what you used to pay, that person giving you that new price is not making what they used to make before. They too, if they have to charge you the right price, it should be triple or quadruple. Okay. So everybody is suffering. Don't blame the people. It is very insulting and very annoying for a government to say, no, it's the people that are hijacking the price. No. Look. Is it the people that hijack the price of oil? Huh? No.
Now let us talk about food,
so,
the one that is within our capacity.
Yes.
Despite the fact that we do import much in Nigeria, there are some raw food that we grow, it's homegrown, and then by the time we look at, we all know that the price of petrol, diesel has gone up. But if we are to look at the consequences that it's supposed to have on food, this is something that economists have probably done over and over again. It is not supposed to be as much as we are having it now. We also have the Vice President Kashim Shettima saying that some people are intentionally trying to sabotage the economy, perhaps from opposition parties that did not win the election, and then they are just trying to, like, if I lose, like you mentioned earlier, that if you lose, then they are just trying to sabotage everything so that no one would be able to enjoy it. Because there are also cases of food being smuggled out of Nigeria, that which is supposed to be for all Nigerians, which is probably what is causing the artificial scarcity.
Okay. Vice President Shettima is looking for excuses for his own failure. When he was campaigning for this administration, he boasted that he was going to be in charge of security. And as I said, insecurity has contributed significantly to the shortage and to the increase in the cost of food. Don't underrate that. And another problem, the foreign policy of this administration, just to share, you see, the problem with a lot of analysts is that you look at one thing in one dimension. No, these things have to go together. You know, it's just like saying you remove subsidy. That's not the only problem. It is the way you did it, and the time in which you did it, the manner in which you did it, all of it have an impact. You understand me? So, security. People cannot go to work. People cannot go to farm. You say, if you are growing food in your farm, and you can only go to farm twice a week instead of 6 times a week before, what's going to happen? You're going to increase to survive. The price has to go up. There's shortage now. Now, you go to the farm to produce, you need energy, right? So you have to use oil to power generator. This small scale now. If you large scale, it's even worse. Now, if you are coming into the farm to pick up food to take back to the market, from where you are coming, the vehicle is going to cost you more to transport, right? We're talking about seriously more. People who used to fill the tank of their car with 15,000 now have to pay 36,000. Come on. You understand me? So by the time you go to pick up the products, the produce from the farm, it's already costing you so much money on transportation, so much money to come back on transportation, and it's costing you a lot to pick it from the... So all of these things come together and affect us. Now, the foreign policy of this government, when we declared subtle war on Niger, you know, the president actually wanted to go to physical war, shooting war. No, luckily, the National Assembly stepped it down. But they cut off this water supply, the electricity supply. They cut off, they blocked the border against Niger. What did that do? All the terrorists from Mali, from Libya, from all over the north part of the country, of the continent, now had free hand to come into Nigeria. That's why terrorism and banditry has increased threefold since this administration came in power. This administration has made so many errors, so many errors. And let me tell you something about these protests all over the country. You know why people didn't protest as much during the days of Buhari? One, because Buhari increased the removed subsidy, but gradually. Nobody even knew he was doing it, as a sensible person should do. Secondly, and more importantly, Buhari never flaunted his wealth. He was always pretending not to be a wealthy man. Now Tinubu gets into power, he's driving around in bullion van, he's showing off, he's giving 160 million for people, for members of the National Assembly to purchase vehicles. He's spending hundreds of billions fixing his house and doing the same for the vice president. This vice president should just shut up. The vice president has no claim to anything. He's blaming, why can't he name them? Is it PDP? Is it Labour? Is it NNPP? Or is it individuals? Is it Atiku? Is it Obi? Is it Kwakwanso? Let him be bold enough to name them. He can't. He can't. Because that is not what is happening. Who is going to tell Nigerians that they are hungry? Does it take Atiku to tell us that we have poverty in the land? So the administration must tighten its belt. This is the same Shetima going in public to go and give 10 million to a friend of his as a gift. 10 million cash with luxury vehicles and luxury babariga with house to match. This vice president, why would people not be angry?
Okay.
Yeah, wait a minute. We're telling people to be patient, to bear. Bear what? When you are showing off extravagantly. That is why people are protesting. All of these things put together, it is not a question of the situation alone.
All right, but some people have said that perhaps Nigerians are being unfair to Tinubu's administration. That if they could endure 8 years of hardship during that President Muhammadu Buhari's tenure, this administration is not even up to a year. And we could assume that a lot of cleansing is taking place. Let us assume that the whole of Nigeria is a badly constructed building. You fix the roof today, it starts leaking in another part the next day. And then you ask all the people in there to move out. And then you destroy everything because you want to start from the ground up. Now let's assume that this phase we are now, it is the building being demolished. And everyone is lamenting they are outside in the rain, there is no place for them to go to, because at least we had a roof over our head despite the fact that it was faulty, because that is the narration that a lot of Nigerians were having, that during Buhari's time, I'm just trying to use.
Sure.
Yes, so that we had roof all over our head, and now then the roof is gone, we are outside, there's nothing for us. So So would you not say that perhaps this is just the first year, and let us assume that this is just the foundation being built? It's not even up to a year yet, and then we could probably point to many of President Tinubu's his renewed hope agenda, that it seems that in the future it might yield positive results for the people. So could we not perhaps make Nigerians understand that before we have a calm, probably we are still going through the stormy times? And then even scientifically, it is proven that, because there was this experiment that I had seen one time of 3 plants. One plant was said very negative things to, the other was left to grow on its own, and then the other one, only positive things were being said to the plant. And at the end of the day, the 3 plants gave very different results. The one that was washed with negative stunted. The one that was neutral, that no word was spoken to, it grew on its own. But the one that was lavish with positive words grew. So could we not perhaps encourage Nigerians to say only positive things to the country rather than always lamenting? Although we know that things are hard, but perhaps, would you say that because of this, perhaps, people are a bit unfair to President Tinubu's administration?
Nobody is unfair to this administration. The administration has enough people promoting his interest. He's a special advisor on information and strategy and so on. He has a lot of people. Shetima, Vice President, all of them are doing their best. But that will not cover the truth. The truth of the matter is, if you want to rebuild, people have to see that there's transparency in your efforts. What is fueling this situation of protests all over the place in the north now? The people that who used to promote restructuring the Nigerian economy. The northern leaders, the northern people didn't want to hear it at first. Now they're shouting, let us restructure Nigeria. Otherwise, let Igbo go, let Yoruba go, let everybody go. Now they want to destroy everything. So we are saying, take it easy. We will restructure Nigeria. Any president who does not commit to restructuring Nigeria will never solve the problem in the long run. So that is first. And Tinubu has not said anything about restructuring. Now, the talks in the National Assembly, all of it is like camouflage. They're pretending. But anyway, you see, it is the distrust that Nigerians have for this administration, for Tinubu in particular, and Shetima, the vice president. The allegations against the chief of staff, Bajabiamila, these are the things that are fueling the anger, making it worse than it was under Buhari, as I said before. Here you have a president who came into office and said, don't forget, I will continue the Buhari policy. And what he is doing appears to be continuing the pain and anguish. So this is renewed hopelessness. It's obvious. Look, this is not personal against anybody. But this is what happens when people don't trust you. How can people trust Tinubu and Shetima when they are living large on the people's money, on the taxpayers' money, buying houses, spending money, appointing their friends and family into office? You know one thing that Buhari did, different from what Tinubu is doing? Buhari appointed all sorts of people who were not competent into office. Guess what? He didn't even know them. You understand me? But Tinubu is appointing people into office that are his cronies and his friends. Just last week, was it not?
But would you say they are incompetent?
No, I don't know. But you see, my dear, impression is very important. It doesn't matter if my wife is the most competent person in the department, and then I'm giving her double promotion because I'm the head of the department. People will get the impression that it's just because it's your wife Therefore, what you do, in order for you not to be tainted, you have to stay clear of that. You understand me? So, not only is he appointing people who are his friends and family, he's appointing people who have a very bad record. Atiku Bagudu, a former criminal who was laundering money for Abacha. He is now minister. Now, you see, he has former governors who have been rejected in their states. He is appointing people, he is giving them appointments in order to satisfy some deal he has with them, compensation. It is not in the best interest of Nigerians. Okay? Now, the other day he appoints his son-in-law. Is he Director General of the Housing Authority, Federal Housing Authority? Look, and then the next day pumps in billions into it. You cannot do it.
Okay.
It doesn't matter how competent he is.
In Nigeria, Nigerians are emotionally charged people. We often say this issue of nepotism, it is not something new. We've seen it in many different administrations.
Sure.
So would you say that it is more of a Nigerian thing rather than it is a President Bola Tinubu thing?
What is wrong is wrong.
Can we say for sure that even if any other party have emerged, we won't still be battling the same problem?
What is wrong is wrong.
Definitely.
If Atiku had come in, as you know, I was working for his emergence, mainly, principally, because he had committed to restructuring Nigeria, whereby power should be devolved from the national to the states, to a great extent, fiscal, security, and so on. That is what we want to do. Look, it is not a question of this person, it is what you do. What we are saying now is not about whether it is a Yoruba man or a Fulani man. It is what is happening. The distrust people have for Tinubu, again, don't forget, when you see a person in office, they say if you want your whole life to be exposed, go into politics, right? So now, here is a man who got in office under dubious, questionable circumstances. Whether you like it or not, whether he's your friend or not, the fact is people suspect that he didn't win the election, that INEC just gave it to him. People suspect that he didn't have the proper academic qualification. People suspect that he was a drug dealer. People suspect. All those things have to be taken care of. You have to be above board. When you get into office, you have to perform in such a way, indirectly at the back of your mind, addressing all those suspicions so that people begin to trust you. When people don't trust you, look at Lagosians. When he came to Lagos for Christmas, people were shouting, "Ole, Ole." We were throwing stones at him in his own state. What do you think is happening? It is this suspicion. Don't let Shetima say it is political. Which politician? That's what he does. That's what he did to Jonathan. He went and brought in Boko Haram and they started harassing. When the Chibok girls were taken, he played politics and blamed it on Jonathan.
Allegedly.
Yes, allegedly. Allegedly. Now, he's also alleging that we are responsible. Who? Let him name. We are naming him for what he did during that period. Let him name the political party or the individual that is asking people to go and riot. Who's going to tell Lagosians when Tinubu comes, start abusing him? No. Lagosians know. People know all over the country where issue is biting them.
I wish you could go on and on about this, but unfortunately we've run out of time. Thank you so much for being with us on the program. It has really been a pleasure. Thank you so much for being on Firecrackers.